know you're clinging to the light of day, to tell you everything's a-okay. And medication don't do much. Yeah, it just numbs the brain. Guess you might say I'm a little intense. I'm on the bright side of being hell-bent. So, take it from me, you're not the only one who can't see straight. If you were ever in doubt, don't sell yourself short. You might be bulletproof. Hard to move mountains when you're paralyzed, but you gotta try. And I'm calling out, get up, get up, get up, move on. Get up, what's taking so long? Get up, move on. Stop stalling, I'm calling out. Get up, move on. Get up, ain't nothing wrong. So I believe you can be whatever. And I agree you can do much better. Trust me. Everybody wants to sing their song. So Marvin Gaye, what's going on? Ain't nothing normal when it comes to you and me. I'd rather twist myself in knots than watch you give up on your dreams. If you were ever in doubt, don't sell yourself short. You might be bulletproof. Hard to move mountains when you're paralyzed, but you gotta try. So I'm calling out, get up, move on. Get up, what's taking so long? Get up, move on. Stop stalling, I'm calling out. Get up, move on. Get up, ain't nothing wrong. So I believe you can be whatever. And I agree you can do much better. Trust me.
Yeah, I don't know why I never talk about it. I guess that's probably part of the problem. Yeah, sometimes you're wrong, sometimes you're right. I'm just gonna keep moving. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep moving. Today, tomorrow, and the next.
Get up, move on. Get up, what's taking so long? Get up, move on. Stop stalling, I'm calling out. Get up, move on. Get up, ain't nothing wrong. So I believe you can be whatever. And I agree you can do much better. Trust me.
Okay, I'm bringing the mic boom down, which should go through and unmute me. I haven't seen anybody in chat yet. Just checking my audio levels. Probably for such an off-the-wall topic. And no, I don't have any modern system on the bench. I didn't haul in some stuff that I'm looking over right now. And I'm not seeing a whole bunch of. I'm only seeing one on listed for concurrent viewer. And even though YouTube doesn't get that right a lot of the time. And just a real, I mean, I came up with the topic even just 12 hours ahead of this, about 10 o'clock local last night, local time. And I'm in actually gear to get painting, not any new studio, but I'm going through and helping my mom out to get one of her rooms that we've got. Hi, Hugh. Good afternoon to you. Almost to the point of being evening. And so I have some relative good news as far as job prospects or work related stuff. I don't know if I'm going to go too much in detail to kind of jinxing or anything like that. I can say a bit about it that actually I have a something very good with someone contacting me out of the blue and looking for working doing some work at a location to kind of clean things up, network and systems, maintenance on systems. And so I went in yesterday and kind of evaluated things. As I say, I don't want to say too much and jinx things or even reveal a location or anything like that. But there's some behind the scenes stuff that it's not necessarily good news for those involved, but it's there's potential to some of the aspects, and it's very early on. I don't want to go into anything that may open up later on at all, and so the but it has a lot of potential. I'm very glad for it to come up. And I think that I made a good impression. There's going to be a little bit more contact I have to do. But I did well. I mean, it's been more productive than others. And it's kind of interesting for all that there is a lot of time that, as I tell people, my productive level, what I equate is at the end of the day where I can look and say, gee, I was productive today. That has actually been adjusted quite a bit. It's and I see a little bit more detail. In fact, I can go through and a lot of time I'll even be online for a significant portion of the day and actually doing email work with Thomas, or just going through and coming up with some details basically of these older IBM systems, and I can still call it productive. I think from my perspective, I feel productive at that level. And there's a lot of stuff I need to do that's going to actually take some time, like scanning. I have a lot of scanning to do, manuals and everything else, and I need to actually catch up on that. Another thing that's lagged behind is picture taking. My photo rig that's off the side there, I still haven't moved the boom of that off over to the bench, the boom of the monitor, so I can go through and clear out that photo rig a little bit better and be able to do images and start getting that rig a little bit better situated, get the lighting on it, which is really pretty critical for the those high resolution images and things like that. And so there's a lot of work, and it's funny. It's feast or famine a lot of the time with me. It's where there's just so much work and there's so many different areas I need to address at once. And then there's other times that it just seems like there's just really not much to do or anything else. And I've got to get into a better schedule and get to recognize that time that I can take a little bit of that downtime, as it were, and then go through and have those days that are busy and have that, a little bit more better allocation on things. And that's, as I'm hinting at in the topic, I'm trying to go through and get that new studio set up. And actually, that's been an area where I'm moving a lot of stuff back and taking advantage of the space I have. And I need to go through and focus more on getting the studio. And I don't want to get to the point like this where where I just get overrun sometimes with items around me. And I'm leaving stuff up on the bench, and I'm not going through, and it's good in a way, I'm not going through and necessarily wrapping up stuff sometimes. I'm going through and I'm leaving stuff out, and I often have a video idea how I can continue a little bit, and to so it's good to have some stuff out there on the bench at times and return to it. And then when I think that I've got far enough along, or I need a new topic, I can go through and change stuff out. I'm looking for things like, ultimately with the like my Mall 30, I intend to do a little bit of programming on it, use it as a test bed and things like that. And I don't necessarily need it on a bench area. I need it in a location laid out to where I can use it. And if I need to, I can move it over to Studio View. Now, the new studio has a lot more space. It has a lot more distance. In fact, it's almost more of a lecture area as you could view it. In other words, I've got a high wall behind me. I even had previously I've had a projector there that to do video, images like movies. It was a movie watching area that I do, and that I can have that on the behind me, but I have to come up with a lot of the mounts for the webcams and things like that. And that's the aspect here that I'm going through, and I'm trying to evaluate what I have for systems that will be good recording systems, or and recording is the initial need, to go through and, before I went live, as I was ramping up to go live here, this laptop recording system that I have, I mean, it's very full featured, but it's in a laptop format, and also going through and straining resources. CPU load was really, really high as I, of course, went through and started the stream. It was up there 90 to 100%. Now it's dropped in the low 60s. So it's doing rather well there. I have enough of an uplink here that with my live streams where I don't max anything else out, max out the uplink for going live, and I think that's responsible for a little bit of the bitrate warnings that I get as well, though. That I get a warning, the audio bitrate or the video bitrate, and I'll be able to probably optimize those a little bit better in a recording system. And the location for my new studio is at home. I do have a faster uplink, much faster uplink at home. And so I will likely encounter less trouble that way as well. It's all part of that evolution of getting into moving into better things, a better setup for the studio that has a faster connection. And the irony is that it is at home where I live. I mean, it's right there. It's easier for me to be able to do potential videos in the future of going through and just getting the door closed, and I'll have to put up, the on-air stuff and be aware of what's going on in the household as well. I don't want 5-year-old grandson, or 10-year-old granddaughter going through and interrupting that stream necessarily in the times that they're visiting or anything like that. But I think it'll work out well for the ability for me to have, and it's very close to the a lot of the stuff I have. It's easier to bring that into a bigger studio arrangement and get it. And as I say, I have more space in front of the camera too, that I can go through, even have some benches already set up, that I can have even full systems like this Model 60, very visible, with even the items around it, and be a little bit less cluttered as it is, a little bit more space, and even get a little bit more of the Skycam potential and things like that from the start, to having things laid out flat and be able to look down. Now, the different from necessarily recording system, I may get into more video editing at a later point as well, to get a more of a production quality video, to be able just to edit videos and come up with a little bit better product that way. That I don't do a whole bunch of that right now. I just go through and record, I pause, and I like that production ability, because even though it's not as polished, if I have to go through and edit anything in like Resolve, it takes over double of the time of the recording just to render any video and to go through and work with it. It makes it so I just can't, I don't have that quick. And other, large YouTubers, of course, go through, and with their production quality, they're very used to that, and they release less videos, very high quality videos, but they release them less often. They go through, and it's a span of, even a few weeks or a month before they go through and release a video, because they have to go through and do all the editing. And I understand a lot of situations, Clint from LGR goes to Computer Reset to do a follow-up video. He goes through and records a ton of footage at a very high resolution, and then is going through and picking clips and how he wants the video to be, and that editing process and everything else. That could take up to 3 weeks to a month in his instance. And I recognize the very big YouTubers, yeah, they've got staff and things like that they go through and are able to but also they have high-end systems. They have a system that is able to do the editing and things like that. So I'll probably have to look at some form of editing system later on, whether it is um, a separate machine that's a little bit, quite a bit newer, of course. And even there to where I've had in my recordings, and of course, produce with a high production quality, even doing it at this level, I have a terabyte drive, and I've referred to this before, that with the bad uplink here, or the slower uplink, not necessarily bad, but I'm stretching that out to a maximum, that here, if I record a 40-minute or an hour video, it takes me 40 minutes or an hour to upload that, based on the uplink that I have from here. And a lot of time I go through and I finish off the video. It's in the evening hours. I just transfer it over to a terabyte mechanical drive, and I take it down, take it home, and then do the upload from there. And since I have a much quicker upload at home, it goes quicker. It goes the pace that I want. Now the flip side of that too is I'm not able to do, or I don't think ahead enough of, okay, what's a good thumbnail image? What's in other words, taking extra pictures to be able to substitute a better thumbnail for things, to work on that aspect, because the thumbnail and how that's marked up and things like that, that pulls people in as well. And so some of that will be easier for me with the studio, the new studio, but I'll have to go through, and I'm looking at, there's some upgrades that I'll have to do and have to get out there and get some systems set up that will handle these tasks as well, a little bit better. And I was even going to go through, I was if there was going to be participation from some of the other YouTubers that are out there, that I would kind of say, well, what's the setup that you have? I know with my friendship with RetroCheck Chris, I know that he had a system. I didn't really hear too much more. I mean, it's probably behind the scenes, but they were going through and building a system up to go through and be the recording rig or the editing computer that he would be using. And I need to get an update for that to figure out, what level that was. Of course, people a lot of time now, they have the Ryzen CPUs. They go through, and that has an expense all told for the for that system, putting together a system like that. And this last week was also productive in the fact that I got some more equipment, and a lot of this is along the lines of about maybe a lot of times a decade or a dozen years old, even though it effectively looks new to me, or it's very capable. It's still a little bit dated for being a decade or a dozen years old. And I have to go through and be realistic, because some of the other stuff, that the OBS and going through and doing video encoding and things like that, the systems that do that very well are kind of more the cutting edge, are of course a lot more recent. And so I have to make sure I don't, assemble an older system that is that has the parts and pieces. It just doesn't do the task properly. But I think I can come up with a system well enough to be able to handle things from a lot of those parts. I could have brought up, if I had the bigger studio here, I could have brought up a lot of different little parts. And it might be the thing when I get the new studio set up here that I'll use this recording system still, and then feature what is coming into place with the other systems as I go through and have sometimes that way, and hopefully have also a little bit of money coming in for me to go through and make purchases and do things to improve the channel. See, I get a warning right now. The audio system's current bit rate is lower than the recommended bit rate. And everything else on the system looks fine, pretty good. In fact, the CPU now is settled into 75% at the maximum, and it's doing now even 60%. So it's doing rather well. It's gone through and is able to kind of handle things well enough here. But I'm looking at the new studio, just in that being a little bit better of connectivity, as well as some of the other things that'll be nice for expanding the channel. And I've been really glad of the subscriber rise. It has it seems like my videos are getting recommended a little bit more. They're getting found in searches. There's other. It seems like there's more views, more instances to find my videos, and I think that my subscriber base is growing a little bit from that. And I hope I'm keeping people interested a lot of the time, because and I'm hoping when I go through and improve, I don't want to really lose a lot of the aspects I have now. I like coming off the cuff. I like doing things. As I commented recently back to someone, I mean, I did a video, and that was the how to save files under the ROM basic on IBM systems. And I had an excellent comment. I went through and pinned it. Very helpful advice, and laid out a lot of the things that I was putting into a new video anyway, that was uploading right at that moment by the time I got to answer the comment. But I had to do a little bit of explanation that I just go through and I jump in. And if I haven't read the manual or my memory isn't correct, I'll encounter that later on, or I'll get comments back. I can go through and I can take that criticism, as it were, from others. Hey, you didn't cover this, or you didn't explain this very good. But I just jump in, I do it. And if I learn more information later on, or have a better recreation of my memory, I go through and I'll do a later video covering that or trying to fill in the gaps. And good to see you, Retrospect Chris. I understand people have busy lives and everything else. I did. Your ears are burning because I was talking about the recording rig that I knew that you and Michael were setting up back when, that I hadn't heard any later details, I guess maybe as it went into service or whatever. But that's the aspect I'm looking at with my new studio. So, of course, this video will be available in replay later on. Today, I'm probably going to stick to, even if I get to the hour mark on the live stream, I'm going to go through that. As I say, I'm dressed for painting and to go through, and there's some other things I have to look at today. In fact, the painting is going to be it's going to be some hours, both today and tomorrow, that I need to do. And yeah, as I sit here in the old studio, and I was discussing the new studio of what I'm going to try and put in place, and I've moved items back to it. I'm using it as a little bit of storage now, and I need to actually go through and pull some of the items out and develop a little bit more of the studio. But it'll be right on what I need. And it's even interesting from the aspect I could do with the background there. I could even almost have a podium. There may be even a potential that I have some sort of podium, or I have something in front of me, even like the IT Pro TV or other YouTubers have, that they're behind a countertop or something to that effect, that I'll have in that location that has more room. So I have a separate location that can be off from the side of what my benches are. I really like for this that I have most of my photo rig, my the bench behind me, all that stuff is on wheels, and I have to account for cords and things like that as I go through and move things around. That's part of that monitor boom that I want to get on the bench itself, because I want to get that separate from the photo rig being clamped on there, so those pieces are independent and they can be wheeled around separately. So there is, I'll continue to have a little bit of that set up in the studio as well, to be able to move components around, and so I can have these systems. I mean, this Small 60 is not even the tallest system that I've had. I've had that the PC Server 330. I've had the PC Server 320 that's been up there, and when they're on top of the bench like this, I have to adjust the camera and get the to get the ability to show them adequately, and my camcorder being all the way zoomed out. No, I do have other cameras that I'll be bringing in. Right now the camcorder, it's something I got for $20 used back a year ago or whatever. That's worked well for me, and it does nice zoom and everything else, and it's all the way zoomed out for not having as much of a in front of the camera as I would need. So with the larger layout of the new studio, that camera is able to go back a little bit, and I have other cameras I'll bring into place as far as that'll be able to record just or even better quality video than what this is, to go through and just to adapt for things. I mean, I've gone through and adapted. I really haven't shown this on screen. And it's funny, I've got the source off on it. But you can see that it understands that the recording, it's live recording right now, because it's got the light on, and I've got a shield over the lens right now, that of course if I accidentally shifted sources or anything else, it's not going to show any of the mess that I have around me and the accumulation of items. But it's actually on a weighted post, and I need to go through and even paint up. This is brass rods that my dad had around, and I can go through and stack these. They nest, and so I can go through and I have more of them, and I can go through and change the height. And it's just an easy way for me to go through and, put a camera in place with the weighted base and being able to adjust this boom enough um, to show what I want to show on camera. And this is the Skycam before that I could go through, and I could put this on the bench and have it angled so it would be down. But these are the little things I've come up with in the studio here, just kind of adapting on my budget. And I will continue some of that innovation at the new studio as well, but trying to improve that as well, to go through and improve those concepts and get some good webcam setups, and even a few different webcams to go through to where I can leave a Skycam in position, not have to move it around too much. Yeah, we know the Rachels, the 5 Rachels, but that's the joys of being a parent and a spouse a lot of the time, of waiting for everybody to get ready for things. But have a fantastic day, Chris. As I say, I'm going to go through and I'll at the end of the stream here, I'm going to be going through and doing some painting anyway. I've got to go through and help my mom get some paint so she can get a room outfitted. I'm talking about my new studio, so she can go through and get a room set up for what she likes in her crafting, in her card making, and getting friends over here and utilize that space for herself, just like I'm setting up the new studio. And I'm going to keep this studio actually as kind of a backup, at least for this little area that I'm in right now. I'm going to keep that active, and that the just as an ability I can come up here. I am going to change some of the stuff. I'll probably have the big screen down in a new location, and and yeah, I've been hearing about the Mexican food over there, and every meal I eat at home here is effectively Mexican food. At least before this stream, I was able to eat one of my burritos, and for those that don't know, a burrito is not really doesn't really have origins in Mexico, or it's not Mexican food. They're going to eat gorditas and stuff like that instead of burritos. They're breakfast gorditas and things like that. But at least I got one of my burritos eaten, and I decided not to go downtown to my regular location because I knew it would be a little bit busy. We're having a bike race in town here locally, and it does get very involved in the downtown area for those segments, those time frames that when the racers are here. So I thought, well, I need to be quick before coming up here for the live stream, that I went to the other location. And I know that this has an aspect to Chris, because I made the comment to him. He was talking about making it for a Ron's live stream, and he had an appointment, and he was being delayed by they weren't bringing the food out yet at the restaurant they were at. And he was making the comment on Facebook that he had an appointment, for a live stream, and I made a comment of that it was a first world issue or first world problem. And he admitted that a lot of the issues they had were first world, um, those aspects, but it's kind of relevant content for all that, for him talking about uh, inviting me out and everything else. We'll have to make sure if we any location we go to has the that that we don't have any live streams that we have to get to after we go to a restaurant. And I'm glad that you had a lot of fun at VCF East, be returning to its regular schedule. I wish I could have done that as well, done a trip just like I did before in October of last year, but just things didn't work out. But there's going to be, I'm sure, a lot of opportunities in the future for something like that. But it, yeah, so it's all these comments and everything else. They're all related in some way. It's funny how that always works out to where we talk about going through and painting studios or setups, and going through and getting things set up and live streams and things like that. So it's all comes out pretty well. But a lot of my problems are first world problems as well. I think probably for VCF, they're going through and the environment that we're in now, and it's returning. This is maybe the new normal that we're going to have. And so I think that they're getting the swap meets and things like that. I actually think that the retro community is probably growing a little bit, or it's getting a little bit more visibility with time. And I think that that organizations out there are scaling that way as well, to go through and arrange these meets, the swap meets, the other presentations that they do, that are coming out of that. And I really hope it's a growing thing that comes around. And so, yeah, I look forward to getting back east sometime to go through and to visit there again, or the other events out closer to me. And yeah, see you soon. Have a good day. And I'm even looking at getting over to with Computer Reset going through and finally wrapping up operations. And remember, today is the last day of April, and they met their schedule. Tomorrow is starting of May 2022, and they made their schedule for the closing, and the groups on Facebook are going to remain open. The buy and sell groups, that the items that even came from Computer Reset are going to be on the market, and still will have a lot of people working in those groups, that even though the original location of Computer Reset is closed down. But I have the surplus guy that I've known for decades, that's closer by to me. He's going to, I think he's going to become the new thing as well. I think that there's going to be people even coming from the Dallas area over this way, since he is one of the surplus or salvage locations, along the lines of course, not as big, not nearly as big as Computer Reset, not having the aspect where he has to go through and going out of business or anything like that. But I think people in their desires. The computer reset has started something with them as well, that to go through and to satisfy that desire now, that the location that I have known for decades, that's going to become the new thing. So I might even get more visitors out this way, people coming to New Mexico and going through, and a chance to meet more people here, more on my local territory, as it were. And it's for people that don't know, it's even interesting. Microsoft ultimately started in New Mexico. It was very small back then, and that was the initial early days, before they decided to go through or moved to Washington State. But Microsoft started in New Mexico. Jeff Bezos was born in New Mexico, Amazon founder. That could have been a little bit more based out of New Mexico. Intel has always had a very big presence within close into Albuquerque and like Rio Rancho. They're going through and they're upgrading that facility. They're reopening and rehiring a lot of positions for that, for their production lines. And Facebook is very much set up in the Albuquerque area. It's funny that New Mexico, they've had their chances at technology in the past of this industry. They could have been almost the Bay Area if things had been a little bit better, or even conditions had been a little bit better, I guess. So maybe we'll see New Mexico be the destination for some of the surplus stuff, as well as other technology growing there. But yeah, so I am probably going to go to, it is just shy of about 45 minutes of the live stream. Not that things weren't lively enough or anything like that. I did appreciate a lot of the feedback in chat and everything else. But as I'm saying, a lot of the obligations I've got otherwise here, commitments that I've put on for family with my to help my mom, I've got to go through and get started painting and things like that. So this may be the only live stream that I've really cut shorter than an hour. Here's hoping like next week. Giving me a chance in the next week to go through and get working on the studio a little bit more, the new studio, that I'll be able to maybe next Saturday I'll be able to be at that location. I know I've said a little bit of this in the past, where I always talk about next week or something else I'll be set up, and I always get delayed and things like that. There's a lot of items I need to catch up on, but here's hoping, fingers crossed, that I can be set up in the new studio within a week or two, maybe next Saturday at the soonest. And yeah, it'll be available in replay, Roman, and that's fine. I was this live stream was a little bit shortened with some of the commitments and other things I have going on. That's the reason I'm dressed up like a hobo. I'm in my painting clothes, and I've got to go through and do painting. But I was talking about my new studio and what I'm doing to get set up with that. And I'm interested in hearing what people have for their recording, other YouTubers in particular, what people have for their recording and their editing computer setups that they have. And that's kind of the question. And I'm looking to go through and set up at least one machine, and probably more than one. And for my new studio, of going through and getting set up for a machine that I can get that records. It runs OBS like this, and also a system that I can go through and do some editing if I need to as well. And of course, there I'll have to get used to Resolve a little bit more. I've used Resolve in the past and know enough of my way around it, but I'll have to get working with it better. So those are the questions at hand. And certainly you can watch a video and replay, and you can also make comments. People can make comments later on for this live stream. But that's the focus I'm doing. This live stream is a little bit more of a channel development sort of thing, and some of the things I was working on behind the scenes. I was talking about my the subscribers and how that has taken off a little bit. I meant actually to send you an email with a little bit of discussion on how I'd seen the subscribers jump. And I place a lot of that to your live stream video. It seemed like after and I appreciate those hard links to my channel that are offered out there by bigger YouTubers than I am, because it does drive subscribers and viewers to my content as well. And the for that time frame of when you did your video, the 7496, and that fantastic chip replacement level that you've gotten to, and I still have the planer. I need to get that sent out. I'm kind of catching up on a little bit of stuff I'm trying to send out as well. But I'd seen my subscriber base jump a little bit after that mention of that hard link of my channel, and I very much appreciate that. There's going to be some further work here, hopefully very soon, to where I'm sending at least one other item to Curious Mark. There's going to be some potential for me to interact or collaborate with some bigger channels as well. And I'm looking forward to that and where that will lead me. And that'll be easier from my new studio as well. I think I'll have a little bit more of a chance to collaborate in the future with other channels and have a little bit more interaction there as well. But I'm going to go through, replay is a good place to see this. I'm going to go through, and I will cut this short of an hour because I have other commitments. I appreciate everyone dropping in and from their busy lives, and even for the few moments to interact with me here. It was even a question. I mean, it often becomes a question sometimes of, do I have enough content or the ability for a live stream this week? But I've gotten settled into the schedule that I want to at least have something every Saturday at this time frame, the same time frame, because I really like the spot, and I think that it is it's a significant portion of my channel now, of my routine that I dropped into and became more than I intended. I mean, I thought if I'm become a YouTuber that I'm going to do videos, and I didn't think about the live stream aspect to it, even though I'm only doing that on YouTube in this instance. For now, there's a potential for other platforms as well. But I'm going to go through and wrap up the stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. But I will, just as I always say, that's, all I have for now, this IBM Museum. Thank you. I have to get to the point where the proper hit the end stream button here.